Hey, hi, hello everyone. I'm Naval Yamul. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Data Master. I'm thrilled to announce a brand new playlist on Databricks Certified Data Analytics Associate exam preparation. This exam constitutes of total 5 topics. I have planned to make 3 videos on it. First part consists of first two topics, that is Databricks SQL and data management, which accounts for 42%. So the total questions you would see in the exam are 50. So first video will contain 20 to 21 questions, and second part would be completely on the SQL, which will be 30% of the exam coverage, that is equal to 15 questions out of 50. And then the third part of my video consists of two topics, that is data visualization dashboards and analytics application, which constitutes around 30% of this, which is equal to 15 to 14 questions. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the part 1, which covers Databricks SQL and the data management. So this playlist is definitely for the participants who are trying to clear for the Databricks Data Analytics Associate, and also those who want to get started their career into the Databricks AI powered lakehouse or the warehouse. So let us get started now. So question number 1. A data analytics is working on the Databricks Lakehouse platform and needs to rapidly build SQL queries and create a dashboards. The solution must support serverless compute and allow visualizations to be added to a dashboard. Which feature or capabilities of the Databricks Lakehouse platform satisfies all of these? So remember, you are talking about data analytics. Now, when it comes to Databricks, Databricks is for all the data people. If you are looking Databricks at a data engineering role where you want to do a ETL, where you want to do the task orchestration, where you want to build a pipelines, Databricks is for you. If you are looking for Databricks in a machine learning or data science perspective, yes, even you can start building up a data models in it. You can start registering that model. You can start serving that model, and so on. Yes, Databricks is for ML and data scientist. And yes, Databricks is for data analytics and business intelligence, where they write all their SQL queries and build their visuals in the Databricks platform. So Databricks is for all, and even yes, Databricks is for generative AI also. So if you are trying to build a generative AI applications, yes, you can build it in the Databricks platform. But this playlist or this video is all about data analytics and business intelligence side. So in this question, if you look at the keyword, they're talking about they're talking about the Databricks Lakehouse platform, and they want to build SQL queries and they want to create some visuals. Is it possible? Yes, definitely it is possible to write your queries and build a visuals. So let us see the options now. It says that which features or capabilities of the Databricks Lakehouse platform satisfies all this. Yeah, Delta Lake. Delta Lake is more onto the storage format. It allows you to build the lake houses. It builds or it brings the asset to the existing data lakes. Databricks notebooks, yeah, even you can write the code in the Databricks notebook. You can write it in SQL, you can write it in Python, Scala, and so on. Databricks machine learning, yes, as I mentioned, you can do you can use Databricks machine learning for building up the model. You can use the hyperparameter tuning. You can register the model. Yes, you can do all. But this question, they are specially talking about writing or building up a SQL queries and building the data visuals. So the only answer would be Databricks SQL. Yes, in the Databricks SQL stack only we can start building the queries and build the data visuals. So the correct answer for this question would be A. So I'll just go back now for a moment. So this is my Databricks enterprise account, and you can see we are talking about this Databricks stack, Databricks SQL stack, where you write all your queries and the queries are saved here, and you can get a dashboard feature where you can start building up a dashboard. So yes, for the entire playlist, we are discussing about this Databricks SQL. So that was the first question. Let us proceed to the next question. So a data analytics new to the Databricks has joined a team that primarily uses Databricks SQL. Cool. Since the analytics is unfamiliar with platform, they want to know where they can write and run the SQL queries in the Databricks SQL. So he's a new data analytics. He has joined the Databricks team and he want to write a SQL queries within the Databricks SQL stack. Which of the following pages provides a functionality to write and execute the SQL queries? So yes, I'll show you the option. One is dashboard, queries, alerts, and the SQL editor. So let me go back first. Before I reveal the answer, let me go back. It will create a confusion for most of the new participants again. So yes, we have a dashboard feature where we start building up a dashboard, and we have an alerts feature where we set an alert. So the use case is different here, but they want to write a SQL queries. So there are two tabs here. One is SQL editor and one is queries. So SQL editor is a place where you try writing the queries in SQL. So you write the queries and you try to execute them. So for example, you write a queries here and then we try to execute it. Okay. So let me take example here, schema, and then I select yeah. So now I'm in my SQL editor where I took a table called winesdb table and I'm trying to query it. So this is a place where you write a queries, and if you want to save these queries, we just hit on save, and your all your queries can be saved. All your queries can be saved in the queries tab. Let me edit here and then click on save, and all your SQL queries can be saved and you can find out them in the queries tab. You can see this SQL query just now I have saved it. So going back to our node PPT now. Okay. So they want to write a SQL queries, but they are unfamiliar. So if you look at the options, so anyway, option A is not a correct because they built dashboards there. They try to create a visuals there. They set up an alerts with some threshold value. They set up an alert, so you get a notification. So people will get confused between these two, but there's no confusion. It's so clear cut. The only tab which allows you to write a SQL queries is your SQL editor tab, not queries tab. Queries tab will help you to save your queries in that. Okay, that was about the second question. Let us proceed to the third. What feature of the Delta Lake makes it superior to traditional data lakes? So yes, I assume that you are aware of data lakes and delta lakes. If not, I'll spend few minutes here. Those who are aware, you can fast forward this. Data lakes are your existing blob storage or a cloud storage. It is just like your S3 or your ADLS, but it doesn't support ACID. So what Databricks people have built is called something called lakehouse. Lakehouse is a combination of your data lakes and the data warehouses. Or in simple terms, they have bought the warehouse and they have dropped into data lakes, and you can call it as a lakehouse. So you can build the lakehouse layer by using these advanced table formats. One of it is Delta Lake. There is an iceberg also, but this certification is just focusing on the Delta, not on the other formats. So they are asking what feature of the Delta Lake make it superior to traditional data lakes. So as I mentioned, data lakes do not support ACID, but your lakehouse supports, and that is only possible because of the Delta Lake. So let us look at the options here. Yes, without looking at other options, anything, you can just shoot the option B, that is all your Delta Lake supports ACID or it has an ACID compliances. So the correct option would be B. Let us proceed further. Delta Lake saves table data in the form of data files. Yes, that is true. So whenever you are talking about the Delta Lake, it has data files that holds the data into Parquet. You don't need to know detail about this because as a data analytics, most of the thing will be querying your data, building up a reports or dashboards and so on. We are not actually optimizing your metadata, data, and so on. But yes, you should know whenever you are talking about the Delta Lake, you will get a data plus you will get some logs. and very specific, it's called the delta logs. Okay, delta logs, or you can simply call this delta logs as metadata. Okay, you can simply call it as a metadata. So whatever the transactions are happening on the table, everything is tracked in the metadata. Okay, and this data files, I mean this data will contains or which has a Parquet files, and whatever the data is available in your table will be stored in this data files, and those are in the Parquet file format. With Parquet you will get some logs as well. Let us read the question here. Delta Lake saves table data in the form of data files. True. But it also maintains additional important information. True. That is the delta logs. Which of the following type of information is stored in the additional data files in the delta lake? So it's called metadata, or it's called delta logs. In delta logs, it will be in the JSON format and so on. So let us look at the options now. First one is nothing additional. No, this is wrong now. So whenever you are attempting the certification exam, so try to look at the options which are not correct, so that there will be high probability that you will shoot the correct answer. So nothing additional. No, delta means you will get some additional. So A is not a correct answer. Yes, you get table metadata, but with that table data metadata, will you get charts? User info, yes, obviously user information will be there in the metadata, but no, charts won't be there. So this is a big no again, big no. And yes, table metadata, absolutely the table metadata will be there. And summary visuals of the data, no, there are no visuals, no charts, nothing like that. So D is gone. So yes, it will be tables metadata, but they're not asking very much in detail about the delta, like which format it is and so on. But yes, if you are going in detail, this metadata contains some JSON files, CRC files, and so on. Okay, and also it contains some checkpointing, but you don't need to know detail about it. Okay, so the only answer for this question would be C, table metadata. Let us proceed further now. A data analytics has created a managed table. Now, when it's a Databricks, there are two types of table: managed table, external table. Managed table is whenever you are creating a table in Databricks, all the metadata, whatever I mentioned, it's just a previous slide, the data files, metadata, everything will be stored in the default storage of Databricks. So that's the reason why they call it as a managed. And there is an external table or unmanaged table. So the name itself indicates Databricks is not managing it. We, the developers or the users, are managing it. So we keep it somewhere not in the default storage of Databricks. We keep it in our own location. It can be your own S3 or your ADLS or anywhere. So that's the reason why we call it as an external table. So there are two types of tables. Okay. For this question, they are talking about managed table, means all the data, metadata are saved in the Databricks own location or a default location. The table name is my table and is currently listed as the owner. Okay, assume that I created a table and I'll be the owner of it. They want to transfer the ownership of the table to the specific user. So I'm Naval, for example, and I want to transfer it to person A using a data explorer or catalog explorer. So previously it was called a data explorer, but now they have renamed it to the catalog explorer. Which of the following steps can the data analytics take to achieve this? Very simple. Let us look at the options here. Change the owner field, change the owner field, change the owner field. Okay. On the table page to remove their own user account. So they're asking to remove their own user account. Okay. Then on the table page by selecting all users. Now they're not telling to give their access to all user, and in fact the ownership cannot be given to all. It can be a specific user. Okay, and here also they have mentioned a keyword to specific user. Then change the owner field on the table page by assigning it to a new user's account. Yes, this is the correct answer actually. So we are going to assign it to a new user, or they're talking about owner field on the table page by revoking all the permission. So granting and revoking is a different choice here. It's most on the data governance side. So who should have an access, who should not have an access, that is granting and revoking. But here the question clearly mentions ownership of the table. So yes, the correct answer would be assigning it to the new user's account. So the answer is C, but let me show you some hands-on the Databricks platform. So if I go to my Databricks, I'll go to the Catalog Explorer. Yes, it was previously called a Data Explorer, but now it's a Catalog Explorer. And here, if you go to, for example, one of my catalog tables, I have a sample table here. And wow, you can see in this Catalog Explorer, in this table, you have an option called ownership. Yes, I am the owner of this. I can transfer this ownership to other participant or any other user. Yes, I can, or any other principal. I can just select their name. He has to be the, he has to have the permission for this workspace, he or she. Then I can just give it to them and click on save. Yes, the only thing you have to do is you have to go to the Catalog Explorer, click on that particular table, and you can transfer the ownership easily. So other options were not relevant. One of the option was permissions, and it's called granting and revoking it. It's nothing related to the ownership of the object. Okay, so the correct answer would be assigning it to the new user's account. Okay, so let us proceed to the next question. Which of the following advantages of Databricks SQL is specially enabled by the Catalog Explorer or the Data Explorer? Okay, they're talking about the same, what we have visited now. So running an update queries, no, it's nothing related to an update queries. No, it's a big no again. So you keep on rejecting the wrong answers. Viewing the data, metadata, and modifying the access, yes, something we have seen just now. Your Catalog Explorer helps you to view the data, metadata, and also you can modify the access. That is 100% true. It will not help you to create a dashboard or it's building a shareable visuals, nothing like that. So a big no for these two. So the correct answer would be B. But again, I'll just like to go back to this, and you can see if I click on it, you can see the metadata, like what all the column headers are, data types are, and also you can see much information about the table. You can change the ownership. You can check the sample data here. My computer is not on, but yes, if you turn it on, and when you click on the sample data here, I turn on my compute and you can see there is a single record here in the table. So you can see the data, metadata, and you can check the ownership also in the Catalog Explorer. And that was the question number 6. Let us proceed further now. Yeah. So different data professionals interact with the Databricks platform. As I mentioned at the start, Databricks is for all the data people, data engineers, machine learning, generative AI, and data analytics and business intelligence. Okay, while many rely on the Databricks SQL, so it might be data analytics team who is relying on the Databricks SQL as their main interface. Some roles primarily work on other areas such as Databricks machine learning, data science, and engineering. Okay, so machine learning and data science. Which of the following roles typically uses Databricks SQL as the secondary tool, primarily focusing on the other Databricks services? So the answer is simple. You just read out the question and you should it should strike your mind. So the primary focus of using the Databricks service would be the data engineers, where they'll use PySpark, they'll use the compute and start building a ETL, and then start automating it, do the task orchestration, and so on. So the first primary usage would be data engineers, and then the secondary would be on the Databricks SQL. So data analytics or SQL analytics, business analytics is the same. So they're talking about the same, but the only option would be data engineers as a primary focus on the Databricks service. Very simple. Let us proceed further. Which medallion layer is most accessible by data analytics? Again, I assume many participants or many people should know what is medallion. If you know, well and good, you can skip it, move fast forward. If you do not, so let me quickly tell you medallion architecture, or it is also called as a multi-hop architecture, or few people simply call it as a bronze, silver, gold architecture. So what does it mean? So just like your traditional databases or data warehouses where we used to have staging layer, raw layer, staging layer, and the final layer. Yeah, now it's whenever you are using a lake house architecture, so we generally use this medallion. One is bronze, the second is silver, and the third one is gold table. So whatever the raw data comes at, we store it into the bronze. It might be like the data which has nulls, duplicates, corrupt records. The column headers might not be correct, schema might not be correct, whatever. We just keep it in the bronze, and then we start cleaning that data, start filtering that data, start augmenting it, and then we create a silver table, and then we try hopping it to the gold. So gold contains all your business data, aggregated data. It answer all your business questions in the gold layer. So these are the three layers. And when the data engineers are working on, so they work mostly on these layers, like they do the data ingestion from varieties of sources to the bronze. They do the data ingestion, and they also try to do the cleaning, transforming from bronze to silver. So when it's data analytics, most of the time they will be having an access to the goal layer where they have the few KPIs and they start writing the queries on it. So this layer is focusing on data analytics team. Okay. And after this, if they are building a reports and dashboards, so that is where that is where business intelligence people work on. So this is data engineers, this is data analytics, and after this, if you are creating a report or dashboard, something like that, and that is where business intelligence people work on it. So yes, the equation is simple here. When it's a medallion architecture and when it's a data analytics, so the only layer they are working on is a goal layer. So let us proceed. Okay. What's the correct way to load the data from cloud storage into the external table? So just now I mentioned it. Whenever you want to create a external table, there are two tables, managed table, external table. So in your SQL queries, whenever you are creating a table, we use a keyword location. So with this location keyword, you are able to create a external table. So we just provide a external path. It's an external path, but we use a keyword location. Okay, so use a dbfs path, from clause path, use the cloud path in from, no, nothing like that. So it's the only the correct answer would be location. So we just use a location to get an external table. Okay, so I've just created a table. The table name is my table with a simple ID column. And yes, I have given a keyword location and I've pasted the path, that is ABFS's path. It is in my ADLS. And when I do a describe extended table name, and you should see the type of the table would be external. So with the help of keyword location, you can able to create an external table. Yeah, that was the correct answer. So moving further, a data team has received a several projects assignment from the consultant, all to be executed within a Databricks Lakehouse platform. Which of the following Databricks projects or which of the following projects is best suited to be carried out using a Databricks SQL? Okay, let me check this now. So they're talking about data teams. They received several projects from their consultant, and which of the following project is suited to be carried out using a Databricks SQL. So let us try to check this now. Validate data quality during a data ingestion process. Just now I mentioned data ingestion is getting a data ingested into the bronze or bringing a data into the bronze from varieties of sources. This is where most of the data engineers are working. So this is not our role for data analytics or not for the Databricks SQL. So A is no. Monitoring the usage of features in the machine learning workflows. Yeah, so they're clearly mentioning it's related to the machine learning usage. That's also a big no, because they wanted to do something on the Databricks SQL. Merging two data sets into unified consolidated view. Okay, merging two data sets, so it's simply like combining two or maybe joining the two data sets. So I feel that this would be the correct answer. And let us proceed further. Categorizing the customers into similar segment using the clustering technique. Again, this is something related to the machine learning where they're using a clustering technique and so on. Scheduling and orchestration, again, purely data engineering role where they want to build a complex workflows, multi-step notebook workflows and so on. So this is where the data engineers are. This is for the machine learning people. This is for the machine learning or data science people. So the only option in this are merging two data sets into one or combining into one. So it's just like a doing a join. So this is where the Databricks SQL people will be working on. So the correct answer would be C in this case. Okay, it's C. Let us proceed further. A data analytics has scheduled a SQL query to execute every 3 hours using a SQL endpoint. So actually it was called as a SQL endpoint, but now they have renamed it to serverless. When you are appearing for the exam, maybe you might get an option called using a serverless SQL in a bracket. It might say you that formerly it was called as a SQL endpoint. However, they have noticed that that endpoint takes a very long time to initialize for each run. So now the serverless is not taking much time because serverless spins only in 5 seconds. But if you are someone who know about Databricks SQL, we get couple of options there. Okay, so before we go to the options, let me go to the Databricks SQL warehouse and let me create a warehouse. So when we click on create a warehouse, we get a different types here. One is serverless, it's super fast, it spins in just 5 seconds. But apart from that, we have a pro and classic also. So this pro and classic SQL warehouses will take a very long time to spin compared to serverless. Serverless is provided by the Databricks people. So when you spin it, the infrastructure is taken care by the Databricks. It takes only 5 seconds. Whereas Pro and Classic takes a long time because it has to get a request from the Azure. So this will take minimum 3-4 minutes to spin. So if you switch it to the serverless, it will take very less time. So let us read the question now once again. So to execute every 3 hours using a SQL endpoint, but it is taking a long time. So you can just mark the keywords here. It's taking a long time here. Okay, to initialize for each run. Okay, so reduce the cluster size. No, it's they're talking about it is taking a long time. So we are not talking about reducing or increasing the cluster size. Increase the minimum scale. Again, there is no point in it, but the only option would be use a serverless SQL endpoint to save a lot of your startup time or initialize run. We can use a serverless compute in this case. So the correct answer would be D. Moving further, a data analytics team or data analysis team is using a table bronze SQL table for a complex project. A stakeholder observes that some of the downstream data is duplicated. Okay, so you are getting a duplicated data, and the team finds the table bronze as a source of this duplication. So in the source, they have the duplication, but maybe in the silver, they should not see any duplicates. So which query can be used to remove the duplicates from the bronze table and write the deduplicated data? I mean, there should be no duplicates in the silver table data to a new table called silver table. So it should be a query now. Let us look at that. So there are three options which says create table. Obviously, we need to create a table. Uh, look at the option to insert override table into table name, select star from. So whenever you are doing a select star from, so obviously you will get all the records from the bronze to the silver. So this is not a correct option actually. So select star from, no, this is not correct. And we do not have anything called merge deduplicate. We have something called merge into command that helps you to avoid the duplicate, but it also helps you to implement SCD type 1 and type 2. But I don't think so merge duplicate is a correct syntax here. So this is gone, this is gone. I guess C and D are the same option, but our complete focus would be on the distinct. Yes, when you do a distinct, you avoid getting a duplicates, and on top of this select query, we are creating a table. So create table, table name as select star. So the only answer would be A in this case. So A is the correct answer. Let us proceed further. So the next question is, a data analytics is working with a managed table named table name, location located in the database name called database. So we have a database, for example, DB. In this, you have a table called table, my table or table name. They want to delete, they want to delete this specific table. Okay, they want to delete this table. Okay, along with all its associated data files. So when I say associated data files, they are actually talking about the metadata, data files, and so on. But ensure that no other table in the database are affected. Obviously, in this database, you will have couple of tables, maybe an employee table, sales table, customer table, and so on. So only this table should be deleted. Which command should the analytics use to successfully perform this action without causing any error? So if you're dropping a database, you will lose everything, but we just need to drop a table. Okay. So let us see the options here. Drop database. No, we are not dropping a database, that is gone. If you say delete table, if you say delete table or delete table, in both the syntaxes, you are just deleting the records. They actually want to drop it, like they want to delete with specific table along with all associated data files. Delete is just a transaction which will truncate or which will remove all the records. So anyway, option C and D is not correct. So the correct answer would be dropping a table, drop table, table name. But we use two level namespace here, drop table, database name dot table name. That's the correct answer, and it's so simple. Okay, moving further. Okay, a data analytics wants to completely remove the table named my table. So they want to delete the table, which includes both its metadata and underlying data files. They have a data file and they have a metadata, and they want to remove it completely. So they execute this command called drop table if exist table name. Cool. So they just run the drop command, drop table if exist table name. After running this command, the table no longer appears in the results of show tables. So when you run a delete or when you run a drop command, you should not see that in your catalog explorer in the schema. And when you run the command called show table, that table doesn't appear. Which of the following best explains why the data files were not deleted? Oh, it says the data file are not deleted even though the metadata was removed. So just look at this. It says which of the following best explains why data files were not deleted. Again, it will create a confusion even though metadata was removed. Okay, you can just skip this part. It will create a confusion. You can just keep it, highlight this and say data files were not deleted. So when you drop a table, as I mentioned, there are two types of table, managed table, external table. When you drop a managed table, you lose everything. Means the table from the schema and all your metadata, all your data files will be removed. But in the case of external table, only the table is removed from the schema, not the data files and not your metadata. The reason, because it's an external table, Databricks won't delete that. So in this example, if you look carefully, it says data files were not deleted. Not deleted means the table has to be a external table. So if you look at the other options also, it is nothing related to the size of the data. So this is a big no. Nothing under the 10 GB, nothing like that. It had no location defined. No, nothing related to the location. Location is used when you create a table. It is not used when you are dropping it. So that's a big no. So the only answer would be it was an external table. So that's the reason why data files was not deleted. Moving further. Cool. The same question, same context. After executing the command describe extended table name like accounts, customers, this is your schema name, this is your table name, the following metadata is returned. Okay, you got some metadata. Few questions back we have seen it. It shows you the table name, it shows you the location, it's a delta, and it shows you the type external. Okay, cool. External means you have the table in the schema, but your metadata is stored somewhere in this location. So the user is now trying to drop the table. Cool. So if it's an external table, look at this external table. So you lose the data, you lose a table in the schema, but all your metadata, all your data file still remains there. So let us look at the options now. So all the files with account or table name extension will be permanently deleted. No, that's a big no. Attempting to run the select star from the delta dot will generate an error. No, it won't generate an error. In fact, if you run this, you will get all your records back. You don't get an error. So actually, this syntax is correct, but they are saying it will generate an error. No, this is not true. Selecting star from the account will successfully return all the table rows. No, it won't, because you have already deleted the table. You won't get any records. The customers table is deleted from the meta store, but the data files at the storage location remains untouched. Yeah, that is true. So all your data files and metadata still remains there. So the correct answer would be option D in this case. Okay. Let us proceed further. So the table, so we have a table name is customers, that is stake dot customer. Maybe it's a database name, a table name, which contains 12 columns. Okay. And a few thousands of records here. The following SQL command is executed. So first look at the SQL query here. It says, okay, select star from the table name where the continent is, suppose, India, for example. Okay. And on top of this, they are using a temporary view. Okay, they are creating a temp view. It can be a view also, like create a view, but in this it's specific to temp. If it's create view, it get persisted. If it's just a temporary view, it remains only to that particular session. Once your compute once your compute terminates, you won't able to access this view. Okay, that is a temporary view. Okay. So after running a select star from the table name, 18 rows are returned. Once this is completed, the user logs out of the Databricks. Assuming that he terminated all the computes, he logs off. But this was working, absolutely it works. But 2 days later, after logging back, okay, then after 2 days he came, you won't able to access it because it's a temp view, my dear. It's a temp view. So let us look at the options now. The view is still available. No, a big no. The view has been deleted. Yes, that's correct. But let us look at the other options also. The view no longer exists, but the source data files can be still be accessed. No, 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 no. When it's a view, it's a virtual table. There are no data files, nothing like that. A big no. The view still exists. No, it won't exist, my dear. Don't read the other part also. You can just knock it off. The only answer would be B in this case. The view was or has been deleted. Let us proceed further now. Next question. How can you set up a connection between Databricks and Fivetran for seamless data integration? Now, what is Fivetran? What is Databricks Partner Connect? I'll spend few minutes here and then we'll come back. So this is my Databricks platform now. And if you want to connect to any third party tool, maybe your Power BI or Tableau, or maybe any ETL tool like Informatica, or for governance tool, or maybe machine learning tool, any tool, it is possible via using this Databricks marketplace. In Databricks marketplace, we have a partner connection. So this partner connection helps you to get the data in the Databricks. So you can see this partner connect integration. You can use these all tools to in for the place of data ingestion. For BI and visualization, you can use this for data preparation, for machine learning, and so on. So we are talking about the partner connect, but in this especially they are talking about the Fivetran. So now what I'll do, I'll just go to catalog explorer here. click on add data option here. So when I click on add data here, so we have few Databricks connectors. Recently they have added few more like SQL Server, Google Analytics Cloud, and so on. They might keep on adding it in future. But apart from this, you have varieties of data sources you can connect and ingest the data in the Databricks. For example, you can see there are more than 150 plus connectors. It might be your Azure SQL or your AWS or maybe your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Google Cloud, your Oracle DB, your Google Cloud. You name it, they have it. Okay, you can see Snapchat ads, Instagram, Twitter, SAP, PostgreSQL, and so on. Yes, now we can ingest the data via using this 5-tran connectors. For example, I have a data in my OneDrive. For example, I'll click on it. You can see here from OneDrive, you can use 5-tran and ingest them into the Databricks. And all you need is your partner connect, and you need a serverless SQL warehouse. If you have this serverless SQL warehouse, you can easily connect it. You select your particular catalog and you can ingest. There are a couple of steps here, absolutely, but you can ingest all that data from OneDrive to Databricks using this partner connect. This is one of the partner connect called 5-tran. And for doing this, we need a serverless warehouse. Remember that it should be a serverless warehouse. So based on this, you will definitely get one or two questions. So let me go back to my question here. Okay, so how can you set up a connection between Databricks and 5-tran? So here, just look at the options. Maybe you have seen it. So use a partner connect to automatically configure a SQL warehouse for 5-tran. That's it. That's the only correct answer. So if you look at the other options, launch a cluster via partner connect. No, it's not cluster. It's a serverless SQL warehouse. Delta Live Tables is a framework that helps you to do the ETL. That's not correct. Use workflows to create a SQL warehouse. No, workflows is for automation, automating all your data engineering, data analytics workload, nothing related to the connection between Databricks and 5-tran. So you use a partner connect, configuring the SQL warehouse. That's the correct answer. D. Let me proceed. How should Databricks SQL be integrated or utilized alongside business intelligence BI tools like Tableau, Power BI, or Looker? Yes, these are the market leaders when it comes to BI tool like Tableau, Power BI, and so on. But yes, let me tell you, we can also build a report and dashboard in the Databricks. So if you go to the Databricks platform, you can start building a report and dashboard via using Databricks SQL dashboards. So in the next part, I'll show detail about this dashboard. But yes, you can build a dashboards here. But if you look at the question, it says that how the Databricks SQL is integrated to utilize the BI tools. Okay. So if you look at the option, is it a partial substitute? No, we're not talking about Databricks SQL is a dashboard is a substitute of any BI tool in the market. No, it's not a substitute. No. Is it a replacement? Oh my goodness. No, it's not a replacement. The BI tools like Power BI and Tableau are the leaders when it comes to BI. No, we are not talking about it's a replacement or it's a partial substitution or a full substitution. No, it's nothing like that. But it's a quick in platform that provides a complementary feature. Databricks saying that okay, it's a complementary feature. If you want, you can use it for the use case. But if you say in your UK use case, I have to build a couple of visuals, I want to build a fancy visuals, couple of report pages. Yes, then you go for BI tool. But if you say that no, I want to build one or two visuals, I want to build a simple dashboard. Yes, Databricks offers you a complementary quick BI within the same Databricks platform, and that's called Databricks SQL dashboard. Yes, as a quick in platform BI as a complementary feature. Okay, so C is not a correct answer. The only D would be the correct one. Moving further, what best describes the partner connect features in Databricks? Just now we have seen. It shares access information with partner tools, maybe, but not correct. It runs partner application on the SQL warehouse. Yeah, true. As I mentioned, it runs the partner application on the SQL warehouse. Again, may be correct, but we need to check which one would be the most appropriate. It provides free access to partner connect via API. No, it doesn't provide a free access, nothing like that. It simplifies two-way integration with partner platform. Yeah, that is correct. So two-way integration. Now you want to integrate any other tools. Yeah, you can use it via using this partner connect. As I mentioned, not only for data ingestion, you can use it for machine learning, data science, you can use it for governance, and so on. So it simplifies the two-way integration with this partner platform. That's the correct answer. So moving further, what is the key benefit of using a Databricks SQL over external BI tools for analytics? It is similar to the previous question. So what is the key benefit of using a Databricks SQL over BI tools for analytics? It offers advanced charting tools. No, never. It will not offer you the advanced one. It's just a complementary feature. No. Okay. This is no. Supports multiple users at once. Maybe no. Built-in alert automation. Yeah, it's available, but we need to look at what would be the most appropriate one in such type of questions. It combines the data, computation, analytics all in one place. That's true. You write your SQL queries here, you build a visuals at the same place, you do the computation at the same place. So you can do all that in one single place, and that's called Databricks SQL. So you have a warehousing, you have to use a different tool. You have a Power BI Tableau where you build a reports in a different tool, but you all do it in the same platform, and that's called Databricks SQL. Moving further to the last question, what should be considered when analyzing the data sets containing PII? Okay, so this is purely a theory part. So PII stands for personally identifiable information. Suppose if you are dealing with any customer's data or any data, you will have a lot of PII data like SSN numbers. Maybe in India you have Aadhaar number, PAN number, credit card number. If you are dealing with a medical data, you have a patient's historical data, and so on. So these all are considered as the PII data. So what should be considered when you are analyzing this PII data? So you follow the organization's internal policy, your PII policy. Yeah, every organization have their internal PII policy. You have to follow that. That's true. Consider the local data privacy laws when the data was collected. That is again true. So whenever you are collecting it, depending upon from which region, from which area, you have to follow their rules and regulations. You have to follow their data privacy laws. That is true. Apply the laws relevant to the region of analysis. Yeah, that is also true. Whether you are dealing with European data, maybe US data, India data, you have to follow their rules. So whenever you are considering a PI data, you have to consider all this. So the correct answer is all of the above. Okay. So this is all about our first part. So let me quickly go back. Yeah. So yes, I covered Databricks SQL and data management in this part one. In part two, I'll be just focusing on Databricks SQL, and in part three, I'll be talking about these two. So if you find this video valuable, I request you to please like this video, share it with your friend, and please request you to subscribe to my channel and support my channel by subscribing it, sharing with your friends and teammates. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you for watching it again. So see you in the next video. Bye bye. And if you are appearing for this Databricks certification, all the very best. Thank you.